Thank you, Alex. Mentor is going to cost me a fortune. Thank you all for being awake this late in the afternoon before the next snack. It's been an extraordinary day and a half of learning, lessons learned. And watching the Prime Minister last night is really extraordinary if you just think about it. What head of state can take this podium for an hour without notes and reveal the whole story in 59 minutes about what our enemies have planned, about what our enemies believe, about why our enemies attacked us? Sun Tzu, the Chinese strategist 2,800 years ago, if you're here today, be proud of the Prime Minister, because that's exactly what the Prime Minister did. He revealed the plans, the ideology, the capabilities, and the strategy of the enemy. He created an international headline by revealing for the first time, it took 19 months, but he revealed it the first time, that Iran and Hamas had planned the total destruction of the Jewish state, and by the way, had a real, seriously, realistic operational plan to do it. Thank God. There was literally a miraculous intervention. But the Prime Minister said regarding Alex, he said, just tell the truth. Don't worry about concepciot. Just tell the truth. But to tell the truth, you have to see the truth. You have to recognize the truth. And what I think the Prime Minister was doing was to say, you know, Israel is truth-telling, number one, the strong horse, al-faras al-asil, that idea of Ibn Khaldun 700 years ago, that history is a function of strong horses defeating weak horses. That's what Israel is today, especially after September 2024. It wasn't only the military lightning victory in 6 weeks, neutralizing the Hamas, neutralizing Hezbollah, ripping naked the Iranian airspace. But it was the perception of our enemies of what we did. It was the cognitive idea that Israel is the strong horse in the Middle East that was the truth. Now, we can be the strong horse in the Middle East. The challenge now is to become the strong horse in the West, because we are losing the war of October 8th. We are losing the October 8th war. The war at Harvard, Columbia, on hundreds of campuses across the United States, the ICC, ICJ, the international human rights organizations, the networks, mainstream media. You know, just to pin the tail on the donkey, some of you are probably aware that just about 96 hours ago, Rashida Tlaib, the representative of Michigan, for the first time ever, it's so cognitively dissonant to even tell the story. Many of you know what I'm talking about. Julia, you've probably seen this. She actually proposed a resolution. She authored a resolution casting Israel as an enemy of the United States together with China, North Korea, and Iran. It's not Halloween. This is serious. And that's why it's so dangerous, because it's real. And even though it was 413-3 with Ilhan Omar and Bush, Cory Bush supporting and 413 against, it still exists in cyberspace. And it's going to be used. It's going to be used by those that wish our and working for our destruction. What this is yesterday, in Russian terms, what we're facing as one war against the Jews. It's not anti-Israel and anti-Semitism. It's one integrated, total war against the Jews. Those in the Jewish state, sovereign, and those outside of the Jewish state, yet to be sovereign. And it's called, in the Russian literature, Russian hybrid warfare. Read Ofer Friedman's book, Russian hybrid warfare. Disinformation, deception, subversion. The Chinese call it total warfare, the three warfares of 2003, based on Sun Tzu, to cause the implosion of Israeli society, and by extension, implosion of the international Jewish community. That is the type of hybrid warfare that we are facing, and we have to understand, we have to tell ourselves the truth of what we are facing. It's one war. We have to say very clearly two principles. branding Israel an apartheid, genocidal, war criminal is not political criticism of Israel. It is the intention to destroy Israel and the international Jewish community. That is not political criticism. And the strategy of hybrid warfare is to divide us as a Jewish community, to divide us from the United States. And by the way, it's not only one war against the Jews, which Sharansky called the 3 Ds. That's why Sharansky came up with the 3 Ds. Demonization, delegitimization, double standards, in order for us to understand what we're really seeing through the 3D glasses. 3D glasses, that was the point. See it clearly. But there's something else going on. This is not only a war against the Jews, this is a war against the West, and it's been going on for decades, and we haven't seen it as an international community. We haven't branded it. But you know who branded it? Yasser Arafat branded it with his Soviet taskmasters in the 1960s. Do you know that in the 1964 charter, Ahmed Shukeri, then the ambassador to Soviet Union, in the charter called for jihad against Israel. It's not about territory, it's not about statehood, it's not about land. It is a jihad, it is a holy war, and it's not I who am saying it, it is the Palestinians have been saying it for decades, and the Iranians are saying it. And we have to understand that we are facing a holy war that is not given to territorial compromise. It's fueled by our readiness to compromise on territory. And you know, in the United Nations, the war wasn't against Israel per se, it was against the United States. Remember what happened in 1965 in the third committee. The Soviets came up with this accusing Zionism or associating Zionism with Nazism in 1965. And they couldn't get away with that. So they waited 10 years, and then we came up with UN General Assembly Resolution 3379, Zionism is racism and racial discrimination. They got away with that. They almost got us kicked out of the UN, but they did it to attack America. The Chinese were calling the Americans imperialists and colonialists. The Soviets were calling the Americans Zionists, calling them Zionists together with Israel. This is a war against Israel and the West. It always has been, and it is today. And we have to understand that from Jerusalem, we have the responsibility now to lead the counter-war. We can win October 8th, but in order to win October 8th, the state of Israel, the government of Israel, has got to take a leadership position. They have got to unite. We have got to be united inside Israel. We've got to reach out and unite to the Jewish community outside Israel. We have got to also leverage our distribution system. There are 55 million non-Jewish Zionists in the United States. There are 650 million non-Jewish Zionists around the world. They are with us. Let us be assisted by them. They are with us in a post-October 7th world. We have hundreds of millions of supporters. And number two, I'm watching the time carefully because you got electrocuted when it goes to zero. Here's the point, that I call on the government of Israel to open a major division on political warfare, the way the Americans did it to defeat the Soviets. 6,000 agents in the United States, 14 different civilian intelligence offices to defeat the Soviet Union. Culture, diplomacy, psyops, gray, black, white, culture, political warfare. That's what we need in Jerusalem. And we need it in a permanent office space. We need it in a space with scores of cyber, of human, of OSINT. This is a war. And we have to win in the name of truth and in the name of the future of our people. We have to win and can win the October 8th war. Thank you all so very much. God bless.